Hi everyone, my name is Chrissy Dimatulak. We're able to see their creativity through our favorite brands, experience their brilliance through the products and services that we can't live without. But never do we really get to have the time to know the marketing experts behind these entities on a deeper level. Here on MARKETECH Expert Up Close, we provide the space and dialogue for these creative and operational geniuses to share their leadership journey and also their expert opinion on the latest hoo-ha in marketing. Welcome to MARKETECH Expert Up Close. So for our first guest, we have Chong Yenkai, founder of Malaysia-based creative agency DreamsKingdoms, which unlike other creative firms eyeing for the big guns, has set a mission to groom 100 Malaysian SMEs into the next world-class brands. Welcome to the show, Jens. How are you?
Hi, Chrissy. I'm good. Thanks for having me in the first MARKETECH Expert Up Close session.
How are things over there in Malaysia?
So far in Malaysia, the COVID case has seen some uprise actually, but I think everything is well under control. And I think it has become a new norm for a lot of people as well, because actually working from home is a new practice. And actually for us, right, in the creative industry, we have been working from home since March actually, and then until now, actually, we still haven't gone back to office.
Well, Jens, I definitely hope that you are staying safe and healthy amid what is going on in the world. So let's get to it, shall we? Before putting up Dreams Kingdoms, what were you doing? What were the jobs you did before or the businesses that you established prior to your successful brand?
Previously, actually working in a 4A agency has always been one of my dream. And back then, McCann Harrison was one of the dream agency that I always wished to work with. But back then, when I graduated from my college time, I went back to my hometown for a few months. Eventually, I received few calls from another 4A agency to join them as a graphic designer. And I guess why the other agency have my contact number is because during my college time, I joined Student Culture Awards, and I was one of the gold winner during that time. So right after when I come back to KL itself, right, I end up didn't join any 4A agency, but I work with a local boutique creative agency, and it's a home-based office as well. So I worked there for about 1.5 years, and right after that, I joined Lim Kok Wing agency, which is called MDIC, as an art director. And right after MDIC, I eventually come out to do my own so-called freelance-based design studio, and I started in a home-based office as well. And during that time, I'm still using the computer that I used during my college time. So after that, after I worked for a few months on a freelance basis, then I start to register my first company. It called Dream Team Studio.
So, Jens, what was your light bulb moment or what triggered you to start your own dream to build your own kingdom, per se?
As a branding and marketing practitioner, as well as an entrepreneur now, I don't really believe in singularity, which means actually no single great branding story can make a business great, and no amount of marketing campaign can build a great brand itself. I think for a business to be great and to become a world-class brand, everything need to be synergized and form an ecosystem itself. Just like a fighter, if you want to deliver a KO punch, it need to come with the right footwork, a strong hip twist, and also very focused eyesight on where we want to deliver that KO punch. Just like if you're running a business, we need to be very focused on our differentiations in our core value, what we provide to our consumer, what is the best fit to our client base or our customer as well. So we can't, like, sometimes we want to move to a lower end market and sometimes we want to move to a higher end market. So focus is very important in building a great brand and a great business itself. And I don't really believe without quality products or services and a great team behind a business, marketing can help to build a brand or can increase the sales of a business. Yes, you can increase sales with marketing tactics or any campaign, but it won't be sustainable, and it will eventually run out of fat in time. That's why actually we call marketing is a sprinter, and running a branding activities or branding exercise is a marathon process, which actually it starts off slow, but it's steady, and that at the meantime, it can build a lifetime value to your consumer. Dreams Kingdom was actually formed with a core belief of synergize of design strategies that help to build business into a brand. What we mean by synergize of design strategy is we need to study of what is the business strategy is about, and then only we synergize it with our branding strategy on how to come up with the core message to build a quality products or service or message that actually our client base or our consumer will consume it and become a raving fans. And we leverage very much on trust in this technologies era as well.
I like how you compared delivering a KO punch or a knockout punch to your brand. Do you practice martial arts or anything like that? And how did it help you, of course, build your dream brand?
Yes, I love martial arts since I was kids and I was trained in karate. But right after when I come to KL for my further study, I eventually stopped all those martial arts thinking. But looking back, martial arts in my early stage actually do helps a lot in my entrepreneurship journeys, especially in the philosophy in life and discipline, motivations, and have the mentality of never give up and everything is possible when you work towards it and give all your efforts on doing the best on whatever you do. So I think martial arts and running a business or entrepreneurship actually is similar as long as you have a great mentality.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's move on to talking more about Dreams Kingdoms. Tell us about your journey to building that brand, and was it hard for you, especially when you were just starting?
I think for every kind of business during the start time is the most difficult part, especially when you want to get the first official client itself. And it will be more difficult for you in a service line like us, actually creative agency. Eventually you don't have the credential to show it to your second or third or fourth client there, even any successful case study that we can present to our client base. So during that time, I think when I started, it's not even a dream yet. It's much more towards on a naive feeling that if I have the right skill, a computer, I can eventually build out my business anywhere, even without any client base. They say there is a saying mentioned that if you build it, they will come. But this is totally wrong. That if you build it, they will not come unless you know how to market yourself. So in the very early age, I started at about 20 plus and I started my home-based design studio. And with a very young teenager look itself, getting people actually to buy into my ideas and design is very, very tough. No one would believe 20 years old kids can do great jobs for them. So with these difficulties of getting in projects, before I actually build up my own business, I eventually built up a lot of debts as my home-based studio is a rented studio, and I was about 3 or 4 months away from paying the rental as well. And eventually the house owner come knocking at the door to collect the rental, and I have to hide myself inside my room, pretending that there's no one around. So it's a tough journey, and even on daily expenses like buying food for daily meal is another things that I actually suffer with, because getting payments from SME markets and all those small design business actually is eventually very, very tough. But I think I'm fortunate enough, and with full of persistence, this has become a history, and we survive and thrive through these difficulties. And we are in the industry for almost coming to 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So you mentioned that well, you started quite young, like early 20s. So my question is, how did you convince your or your first client to work with you? And tell us about that project and experience.
Back then, our very first client that worked with us actually was one of the largest sushi chain in Malaysia. It was Sushi King. I remember we actually sent in a lot of emails and then do a lot of call calling as well to all the client that we wish to work with. And I think the most important of getting the first client is through persistency and never give up mentality. That I follow up with Sushi King for about 2 years plus, and eventually hoping to get to the right person in charge, looking at our email and then taking our call that we can provide them with design service. But it was lucky that after 1 or 2 years, right, one of the executive eventually saw our email that I sent out, and they are looking for new agency for their design jobs, and they provide us with these first opportunities. It's a small design jobs actually, and I think we deliver it that up to their expectation, and slowly they give us a slightly larger projects on their festive campaign, even on their technical campaign, that kind of things. And I can say that it's a very great experience working with this official first client, and it help us to strengthen our profile and slowly path us to a greater height. And from then, actually, we get into more and more bigger clients, which include like international logistic companies, luxury cars, hotels, banks, insurance, even on some of the FMCG as well. So I think persistence is one of the key elements to get the first official clients. Mm.
So let's move on to an important factor in marketing, which is branding. You are doing a lot of insightful videos about branding, and why do you think it is important for companies?
Since last year, we directed some of our focus into SMEs, especially Malaysia's SMEs. Back then in the 2006, our clients are mostly SMEs, and it's quite tough to work with them as most of the SMEs started their business through garages and don't have any plans to build a brand itself as well. So their business model are merely towards trading services. That's mean actually buy at a lower rate or lower price and then resell it at a higher rate to earn the middle profit margins, which they call as a profit. So this kind of business model actually for SMEs, it might not be able to survive in the long run as there are always stronger competitors who can able to give a much lower price itself. So if a business is under a price war, right, eventually it will run out of business sooner or later on whoever who can give the much lower price because it will cut off their profit margins, and at the long run they will give products or services at a low rank or not quality products itself. So as I think as a part of Malaysians and also anak Malaysians, I feel that it's a responsibilities for professional industry practitioners or leaders to share or direct where to change the perceptions of a businessman mindsets that doing a business without brand is hard to survive, especially when crisis hits. It doesn't mean that actually if you have a brand or you build out a brand itself, your business won't collapse. Even like COVID case now, a lot of big brands eventually get collapsed also. I actually eventually mean that if you have a brand itself, you do have a very strong culture and you build up a culture that able to pull you through difficulties and give you the purpose or the strength of why you exist. What is your business meant to be? What is your mission and visions to the industry or the market you want to serve? So it become a responsibilities. So building a brand is very important in this way that it's not just for profit margins, but it's much more towards on the responsibilities to the communities and to the nation itself.
So we're talking about one of the words that will pop up in this conversation is of course
Mm.
SMEs. A lot of people will be watching this, and a lot of them will ask, "Well, what are SMEs?" So can you please explain to us?
I think a lot of country call it as SMB, which is small medium business, while Malaysia is known as SMEs, small medium enterprise. And small medium enterprise actually plays a very important role to every countries as they are considered as the pillar of economic growth to the country or the nation itself. As SME eventually for every country form up about more than 90% of the country business, which another 10% plus maybe is MNC businesses. So based on this also, right, we do feel that for SMEs to grow further, they need to know more about what is branding and marketing, and then to have a mentality of how MNCs or those large corporation things, and then how they actually manage their marketing or branding campaign. So that's why eventually we venture into SME market as well. So back to the questions, what is SMEs? It's basically small medium enterprise.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, yes. Thank you for that. Thank you for enlightening us. For the next question, when most businesses are looking into working with the big organizations with big budget, what makes you want to go into the SMEs market?
I think it's much more towards on the responsibilities and also as anak Malaysia itself to look at the economic growth and also to elevate Malaysia brand image as well. So like you mentioned the budgets of MNC actually, like most of the SME, right? The budgets invest by MNC might be a 3 months budget might be a 1 or 2 years budget for an SME itself. So eventually the money is not really there. But I think towards on the responsibilities of what we want to give back to the nations and contribute to the economic growth as well. So I think in order to make this happen, right, the first thing actually for SMEs to work and to become a great brand, I think is to have a mindset switch thing. So that's why we come in the role that we wish to educate and give more information for SME on how to build a brand itself and to open up their mindsets to have a MNC kind of mindsets in doing their branding and marketing. If we don't have this kind of mentality, I think we will always stuck with a mindset that we are SMEs, we are small, we will never grow, and don't have the confidence actually to become an international brand as well. And we are currently into digital era and everyone is talking about online. And to me, one of the most important strategies for every business and must have actually in order to build a great brand actually is trust itself. And in Dreams Kingdom, we actually call this as trustnology.
Okay. So, what tips can you give for SMEs about the right branding strategies?
I think one of the branding strategies that work for every business, not just SME, and it eventually work for MNC or larger organization, actually is a trust strategy. A lot of business, I think they are spending a lot of investment into how to improve their products, qualities, or improve their services, or even a team. But one of the major thing that a lot of businesses might left out actually is trust itself. So I do feel that trust actually is very important, especially in this digital era. It's not about how good or how great your product's quality is. So in Dreams Kingdoms, eventually we call this as trustnology, which is derived from the words of trust and technology, combined together to form trustnologies.
Mhm. I like that word, trustnology.
Okay.
It's the first time I encounter that. So, with your many
Okay.
years in the marketing industry, what do you consider as the most important achievement so far as a marketing leader and why?
I think receiving industry awards was one of the dreams for every agency, not just us. I guess it's a recognition for the work we have done and everyone to get together to celebrate the hard work and sweat work. But what I consider as a true achievement, I think I'm proud to say that we have a very small elite warrior team that always get work done efficiently and effectively, not just simply done it to give it to our customers, but done it with quality and effectiveness. This is one of the achievement I think I'm truly proud of instead of just the awards part. So actually, in branding and marketing, I think it's not about how big the company or the team is. It's more about who you are working with and how we utilize the resources we have, whether we are SME or we are larger corporations. And in this digital era, I think is how you keep your company small with the help of technologies and grow your clients big to have a much bigger profit rather than expenses.
Yes. So, what's the future state of Chong Yenkai? What do you want to achieve? Uh, because it seems like you've already achieved so much already. So, what's next for you?
We are in the run of looking and selecting potential and good quality SMEs that have the mindsets and courage to uplift their business into an international world-class brand. And currently we are looking to brand at least 100 SMEs into an international world-class brand that's truly and proudly represent as a Malaysia brand to the world. And also through this brand, we hope that it can contribute certain economic growth to the countries and also the country's brand image as well.
So, for one of your final thoughts as a marketing leader, what's your message to all of us who's watching you right now?
Everyone is talking about digital transformations and digital disruptions. It has become a trend for all businesses from micro to big. It's the change that everyone must look into. But for every transformation, I do believe that the value of trust should be embedded into whatever we do. No matter how good you build your business or your brand in this digital era, one of the things that we must have in our business will be trust technologies, and this should be the core brand value of our business and brand.
Thank you very much, Jens, for sharing your experience. We are so impressed with your mission to uplift and help SMEs. There you have it, our first MARKETECH Expert Up Close. Watch out for our next episodes as we feature more marketing experts to share their personal and never before heard strategies on marketing leadership success. So if you are a marketing or tech leader, a founder, or an agency head and you have a good story or insights to share with us, we want to hear from you. Please send us an email at experts@marketech-apac.com. Again, this is Chrissy Dimatulak. See you at the next episode of MARKETECH Experts Up Close. Thank you.